Vortis prayed to gods he didn't believe in, knowing no other being, Gamelon or alien, would dare intervene to save his life from the lethal monster pursuing him. He collapsed, ragged breaths escaping his lungs as the Zorgax roared behind, knowing his doom was seconds away unless the group of strange two-legged mammals before him proved merciful. He had never seen their kind before. Humans, he thought they were called. But when he locked eyes with the rugged one in the center, he saw something different than in the other aliens scattering to safety around the spaceport. Courage, defiance, an unwillingness to leave another sentient being to a grisly demise. Teeth bared, weapons raised, the band of humans formed a protective circle around the cowering Gamelon worker. For the first time, Vortis felt a flicker of hope. With a determined nod, the human leader stepped forward to face the charging beast. Succeed, and they would become legends as the first to defeat a Zorgax in combat. Fail, and Vortis would be just another bloody smear decorating the streets of Gamilor Prime. The humans tensed, the Zorgax lunged, and a desperate battle was joined that would soon echo across the galaxy. The Zorgax lunged, its muscular legs propelling it forward at frightening speed. Thomas and his crew opened fire, their weapons flashing. Bullets struck the creature's thick hide, drawing spurts of dark blood. The Zorgax staggered but didn't fall, its vitality and ferocity driving it onward, despite the wounds peppering its body. It swiped with scythe-like claws, intent on ripping the humans to shreds. Thomas ducked beneath a deadly swipe and came up firing. His shot took the beast clean in its left eye, bursting it in a spray of jelly. The Zorgax reared back, bellowing in agony. "Back to the ship now," Thomas commanded. The crew needed no encouragement, already racing up the boarding ramp. Two of the burlier men scooped up Vortis' limp form and carried him along. Within seconds, they were all inside, sealing the airlock behind them. In the spaceport, the Zorgax shook its massive head, blood and fluid streaming down its face, its remaining eye fixed on the human ship with pure malice. The beast hurled itself at the hull, intending to tear through and slaughter those inside. The metal dented but held under the impact, the ship's sturdy construction withstanding the creature's fury. Engines flared to life, and the ship lifted on columns of fire, rapidly ascending out of the Zorgax's reach. In the cockpit, Thomas hailed spaceport control. "Mayday, Mayday, this is the Earth vessel Horizon," he transmitted. "We have a badly injured Gamelon aboard, requesting clearance to depart immediately for medical assistance." A grey, scowling face appeared on the monitor. "Clearance denied. You will land and turn over the Gamelon to our custody at once." Thomas scowled back, not liking the cold indifference in the alien's eyes. Something stank here. "Negative. We will be leaving your jurisdiction and taking this man to an Earth medical facility. Horizon out." He cut the connection before the official could protest further. A quick course adjustment, and they were rocketing away from Gamilor Prime, pushing the ship for all the speed it could muster. In the medbay, Vortis groaned and stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He startled at the sight of Thomas looming over him, instinctively trying to scramble away. "Easy there, friend," Thomas said, holding up his hands in a placating gesture. "You're safe. We're not going to hurt you." Vortis looked around wildly, taking in the sterile metal walls and gleaming instruments. Where am I? Who are you?" "My name is Thomas. We're on my ship and we just saved your life from that Zorgax. We're taking you somewhere safe, away from whoever was trying to capture you." Vortis shook his head. No, you must take me back. You don't understand." "I think I understand just fine," Thomas countered. "Your government wanted that monster to hunt you down, and I'm guessing it has something to do with you being a telepath." Vortis gaped at him. "How could you know that?" "Let's just say I'm good at reading people, and I can tell you've got something they want pretty badly. Something to do with an artifact, am I right?" The Gamelon seemed to deflate, slumping back on the bed. "It is true. There is an ancient device left by my ancestors, hidden on my homeworld. It holds immense power. In the wrong hands it could bring untold destruction. I am one of the few who knows of its location." He met Thomas's eyes pleadingly. "Please, you must see why I cannot leave. If I do not return, if that artifact falls into the hands of those who would misuse it—" "I understand," Thomas assured him. "But we've got to be smart about this. Charging back in blind won't help anyone. We need a plan, and I think I might just have one starting to come together." The horizon raced through the void, rapidly approaching the human outpost where Thomas had been ordered to turn over Vortis. Tension hung thick in the air as an incoming transmission blinked on the console. Thomas tapped the flashing button, a heavy feeling in his gut. The face of his contact within the Galactic Federation filled the screen. The man's expression was grave. "Thomas, we have a situation. The Gamilons are accusing you of kidnapping Vortis. They're demanding his immediate return." Thomas frowned. "That's bullshit, and you know it. We saved his life." "I know, but the Federation doesn't want a diplomatic incident on their hands. They're ordering you to hand Vortis over to the Gamilon authorities waiting at the outpost. I'm sorry." The screen went blank. Thomas slammed a fist against the console, frustration boiling in his veins. He had sworn to protect Vortis, but now his own people were tying his hands. "What are we going to do?" Vortis asked, worry etched on his grey features. Thomas met his gaze, resolve hardening in his eyes. "We're not handing you over. I gave you my word." He pulled up a star chart, scanning for a destination. There, a small unmarked planet at the edge of known space. It would have to do. Thomas typed in the coordinates, and the ship banked hard, changing course. "We'll hide out on this world off the grid," Thomas explained. "Buy ourselves some time to come up with a real plan." The horizon knifed through the atmosphere of the planet, landing thrusters firing to cushion its descent. The ship settled on an open plain, rust-colored grass stretching out in all directions, under an alien sun. Thomas and his crew set up a perimeter around the ship, establishing a temporary camp. Vortis wandered at the edge of the boundary, taking in the strange new world. Something in the distance caught his eye, worn stone peeking up through the vegetation. Vortis pushed through the tall grass, pulse quickening as ancient ruins slowly revealed themselves. Crumbling walls and toppled columns bore intricate engravings, glyphs that tickled his memory. A central dais rose from the center of the ruins, identical to the descriptions of the lost city that supposedly hid the Gamilon artifact. "Thomas," Vortis called, excitement overriding caution. "I think the artifact might be here." The human joined him, eyes widening as he took in the ruins. "I'll be damned, maybe this is more than a coincidence." Without warning, plasma fire stitched the ground at their feet. Armored figures burst from the ruins, a Gamilon strike team led by a scarred commander that Thomas recognized from intel reports, Zortak. "Did you really think you could run?" the Gamilons sneered. Thomas and his crew reacted instantly, diving for cover and returning fire. The air crackled with deadly energy as the two sides clashed. Vortis scrambled toward the central dais, ducking and weaving. There, set in a recess on the stone platform, was the artifact, an orb that pulsed with ancient power. Vortis lunged for it. Strong fingers closed around his arm, yanking him back. Zortak loomed over him, eyes burning with rage. The Gamilon commander raised his weapon to deliver the killing blow. A blur of motion, and Thomas tackled Zortak, sending them both tumbling to the ground. They grappled furiously, trading blows in a desperate struggle. Thomas fought with all the strength he had left, but Zortak was relentless, pummeling him savagely. Through the haze of pain, Thomas saw Vortis grab the artifact. The Gamilon's eyes glowed as he connected with it telepathically. Zortak, on the verge of victory, froze, his face twisted in dawning horror. "No, it can't be," he whispered. The Gamilon soldiers, seeing their commander falter, lowered their weapons uncertainly. Thomas staggered to his feet, wiping blood from his mouth. He turned to Vortis, the question burning in his eyes. The other man's face was ashen, his mind reeling from the revelation the artifact had granted him. "The truth," Vortis murmured. "The truth about our history, about what we were." Vortis gripped the artifact tightly, its ancient energy thrumming through his fingers. He turned to Thomas, eyes wide with shock and revelation. This contains the truth about our past. The Gamilon government has been lying to us for centuries, Vortis said, voice shaking. They've hidden the existence of an ancient superweapon capable of destroying entire planets. And this artifact is the key to unlocking it. Thomas stepped closer, ignoring the pain from his injuries. A superweapon. Why would they keep that hidden? Because they're corrupt, oppressive. They've manipulated our people to maintain their power, Vortis replied, anger seeping into his tone. We have to stop them. We have to expose the truth. Thomas nodded, determination hardening his features. What do you have in mind? We need to infiltrate the capital city, access the main communication system, broadcast the information to the entire planet, Vortis said. It's risky, but it's the only way. I'm with you, Thomas said without hesitation. This is bigger than just us. We have to do this, no matter the cost. They made their way back to the horizon, Thomas's crew supporting their injured captain. Once aboard, they plotted a course for Gamalor Prime, knowing the dangers that awaited them. As they approached the planet, a fleet of Gamilon warships materialized on their scanners. A hail crackled over the comms. Earth vessel, this is Admiral Zorvax of the Gamilon Armada. You are harboring a fugitive and possessing stolen property. Surrender immediately, or be destroyed. Thomas recognized the name. Zorvax was Zortak's father and a high-ranking government official. He had no intention of capitulating. Hold on tight, Thomas warned, hands flying over the controls. The horizon shot forward, weaving between the warships with breathtaking precision. The Gamilon vessels opened fire, but Thomas's exceptional piloting skills kept them one step ahead. They danced through the barrage of plasma bolts, pushing the ship's engines to their limits. Skimming dangerously close to the planet's atmosphere, they managed to evade their pursuers, long enough to land on the outskirts of the capital city. The ship settled in a concealed ravine, away from prying eyes. As the crew disembarked, a group of hooded figures emerged from the shadows, Gamilon rebels, their faces etched with determination. Vortis, a young female Gamilon called out, stepping forward. My name is Arya. We've been fighting against the government's tyranny. We're here to help. Vortis clasped her hand, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. Thank you. We have a plan, but we'll need your assistance to pull it off. Together, they huddled around a makeshift map of the government headquarters. Thomas pointed to the central spire. The main communication system is here. If we can get Vortis and Arya inside, they can broadcast the truth to the entire planet. Arya nodded. We can create a diversion, draw the security forces away from the main entrance. My crew and I will lead the assault, Thomas said. We'll buy you as much time as we can. With roles assigned and a plan in place, they set their scheme in motion. Thomas and his crew took up positions around the headquarters, weapons at the ready. At the agreed-upon signal, they launched their attack, drawing the attention of the guards. Chaos erupted as plasma fire filled the air. The human crew fought with courage and skill, keeping the Gamilon forces engaged. Amid the commotion, Vortis and Arya slipped inside the building, making their way towards the communication center. As they burst into the room, Vortis rushed to the console, preparing to upload the artifact's contents. But before he could begin the broadcast, the doors slammed open, revealing the imposing figure of Admiral Zorvax, flanked by his elite guard. Did you really think it would be that easy? The Admiral sneered, leveling his weapon at Vortis. You've walked right into my trap. Vortis stood firm, the artifact clutched tightly in his hands. Admiral Zorvax loomed before him, flanked by his elite guard, their weapons trained on the defiant Gamilon. The tension in the room was palpable, a coiled spring ready to snap at the slightest provocation. Surrender the artifact and submit to the government's authority, Zorvax commanded, his voice cold and unyielding. You have nowhere to run, Vortis. Your little rebellion ends here. Vortis shook his head, his eyes blazing with determination. No, Admiral, it's time for the truth to be known. Our government has been lying to us, manipulating us for far too long. He held up the artifact, its ancient energy pulsing through the room. This holds the key to our history, to the superweapon they've hidden from us, a weapon capable of unimaginable destruction. Is that what you want for our people? Zorvax scoffed, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. You speak of lies and deception, yet you are the one who stole the artifact and fled. How can we trust anything you say? Vortis stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. Because I have seen the truth. The artifact showed me everything. The corruption, the oppression, the lengths they will go to maintain their power. And I have proof. He tapped a sequence on the artifact's surface, and a holographic display sprang to life. Documents, recordings, and images floated in the air, damning evidence of the government's misdeeds. Zorvax's eyes widened as he scanned the information, his resolve beginning to waver. This cannot be, he muttered, his grip on his weapon loosening. Just as it seemed Zorvax might be swayed, the doors burst open, and Commander Zortak stormed in, his face contorted with rage. Without hesitation, he leveled his blaster at Vortis and fired. The bolt struck Vortis in the chest, sending him crumpling to the ground. Arya screamed, launching herself at Zortak with a fury born of grief and anger. They grappled, trading blows in a vicious dance. Thomas and his crew, battered but unbroken from their fight through the government forces, charged into the room, weapons blazing. They joined the fray, desperation fueling their every move. Amidst the chaos, Vortis dragged himself to the console, his life force ebbing with each ragged breath. With trembling fingers, he input the final command, activating the broadcast. The artifact flared, and the truth poured out across the planet, a tidal wave of revelation that could not be stopped. As the broadcast ended, Vortis slumped back, a smile on his lips even as the light faded from his eyes. Thomas reached him, cradling the fallen Gamelon in his arms. "You did it, Vortis," Thomas whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You freed your people. I promise we will finish what you started. Your sacrifice will not be in vain." The people of Gamelor Prime, long oppressed and lied to, rose up as one, demanding the end of the corrupt government and the destruction of the superweapon. In the face of such overwhelming opposition, even Admiral Zorvax could not stand idle. In a stunning turn of events, he allied himself with the rebels, leading a coup to overthrow the very leaders he had once served. In the aftermath, a new government was formed, with Arya as one of its guiding lights. The superweapon was dismantled, its components scattered and destroyed, never to be used again. The artifact, a symbol of their people's struggle and the price paid for freedom, was enshrined in a museum, a reminder to future generations. Thomas and his crew, though offered positions of power and influence in the new government, politely declined. Their place, Thomas knew, was out among the stars, helping those who could not help themselves. As they prepared to depart Gamelor Prime, Thomas made one final stop. He stood before Vortis's grave, a simple marker for a hero who had given everything for his people. "Thank you, my friend," Thomas murmured, placing a hand on the cool stone. "Your courage will never be forgotten." With heavy hearts but unbreakable spirit, Thomas and his crew boarded their ship and set course for the unknown. There would always be those in need, those crying out for justice in the vast expanse of the galaxy. And as long as there were those willing to answer that call, hope would never die. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.